7K Nindo cleaners of Reddit. What is the weirdest thing you have seen while cleaning windows? Stringer 8.9K points 8 hours ago, edited 8 hours ago. I am a consulting engineer working in building science and structural restoration. A number of years ago, while working in Toronto at a 38-story high-rise, we, two contractors and myself, were reviewing glazing and sealant bead and came down upon a window where a woman was grooming her bikini area. We are always taught to see something inappropriate and look away. Apparently, we looked so far away we missed the metal flashing lip of the next level down. Our swing stage tilted one way and swung back, and all three of us banged our heads into the lady's window. The glass didn't break, but it sure scared the lady. Your life is like a Three Stooges bit. That one bold S. Dear God, as a fellow woman, I really hope homegirl was waxing and not shaving. I know if I were shaving and three faces slammed into the glass of my apartment, I'd have jumped like a son of a bitch. Probably cut my femoral artery and then ended up as a fucking Darwin Award. But this is fun. Someone help me think of what that death would be called in the headlines. Too bad you guys didn't break the glass. Could have swung in like, oh yeah? But it sure scared the lady. I hope she wasn't too scared to accidentally cut herself. The area is pretty sensitive. We are always taught to see something inappropriate and look away. TLPDEOPGE Nanirentesen Enners Raren Enners Nanknente Venenarianasens Mirunansentaten. Look away. Not a window cleaner, but I work on roofs. Climbing up the ladder lets you see into a lot of rooms, whether you like it or not. Also, a lot of people have skylights in their bathrooms. The weirdest thing I saw was a picture hanging in a customer's bathroom. The photo was the customer, a woman, in sorta like BDSM lingerie in the bucket of a tractor, doing some sorts of sexual pose on the ground. In a cheering pose, hands up, smiling, was their child, maybe 4 or 5 years old, looking up at her. Super weird if you ask me. I'm picturing this lady in the George Costanza pose in a tractor bucket now. Not the worst image, but certainly odd. My resolve to keep reading this thread is waning. I don't know what to make of this. Probably an ad for farming machinery. I've seen that before. I did residential window washing, so we were inside people's homes a lot. Saw a big multi-photo frame full of the wife's erotic photo shoot. The photographer was good. It was classy as far as Tala, less than Emola Tuiki. This made me realize that the only skylights I've ever seen, including ones in my own childhood homes, were in the bathroom. I had roofers for a week. Every morning when I got undressed for the shower, they'd immediately go quiet. It made feel so paranoid, but the bathroom was in the basement. There was a vent in the ceiling, but unless it had mirrors, I don't see how I could have been exposed. I only did the job for about 8 or 9 months, but saw 2 unexpected things. Got to the top of the ladder and saw a guy the first know was a priest enjoying some porn. I scurried back down the ladder hoping he would hear me, and then slowly went back up. He obviously had heard me because when I got back to the window he was standing up reading a Bible. The other time I got to the top of the ladder and saw a woman in her 80s sitting on her bed, completely naked. I was sure she saw me, so I gave her a few minutes before going back to the window. When I get there, she's sitting in exactly the same place, still naked, smiling at me. I got a job in an office soon after. But did you know? Wink wink nudge nudge. Priests are whack. My uncle had open heart surgery, so he called a priest to do a sacrament of the sick, and my uncle, doped up on meds, was cussing like a sailor and just screamed "fuck it" one point, and my nana got mad at him. The priest was like, "That's alright. I've heard it before. I've said it before." And my grandpa goes, "Long as you haven't done it before." And the priest went, "Well, actually, priests could have done that too," and we just went quiet. He became a priest in his 40s, so I mean, Not surprising. He also offered my history teacher dip. He obviously had heard me because when I got back to the window he was standing up reading a Bible. LMAO. She was asserting dominance. You should too by not breaking eye contact. Didn't know that banging old ladies can land you an office job. MTMJM 4.7K points 11 hours ago, edited 14 minutes ago. A rotund lady pooping while I was doing high-rise window cleaning. You don't expect to have to close the window when in the bathroom on the 12th floor. How do I know she was pooping and not peeing? I just knew. I guess it's because she didn't look pissed. Poops look like you're concentrating, pees look like you're relaxing. Easiest way I can describe it. Took me a minute to realize that you were the one doing high-rise, and not her. I kept picturing a fat woman pooping while standing, handstanding, squatting on the top of the toilet, pooping while holding one leg up. Dunno what's so weird about a lady pooping. What a crappy situation. Once I was doing this two-story house with big square plates of glass pretty much everywhere. The guy had every single painting on his walls covered with sheets, and absolutely would not allow us inside to get to the double hungs on the second floor. How old do you think he was? Prob had paintings like Podesta. Not a window cleaner, but I was at a boring industry black tie event at a posh hotel in London a few years back. Woke up very hungover on the 12th floor. Stumbled to the window and pulled open the curtains. Two blokes stood there staring at my fat naked self. They were on one of those tall building platform things. Took me a moment to understand what the fuck was going on. Closed curtains. WC. Terribly IERVA lie. Can't have been that boring when you woke up hungover and naked. My maternal grandfather was a window washer in the 1930s. He saw my eventual grandmother on the other side of the glass. Which side was she on? I wanna know how he made the move! Exclamation mark. I have got notebook to take notes, thanks. Plot twist, it was after their marriage. Ah, that's sweet. 38. Wholesome. That very disco guy 2.1K points 12 hours ago, edited 6 hours ago. Not a window cleaner, but I regularly see people having sex in the apartment building next to mine. We can't install curtains, so I can't escape it, and they probably see me as well. Edit. Thank you to everyone for all the great advices, smiley face. Eli the Waffle 986 points 12 hours ago, edited 17 hours ago. D. Just start smearing shit on your window. That'll turn them away. I'm sorry. This might seem like a stupid question, but why can't you install curtains? Is there a rule to not do it? Is that even legal to make such a rule? You can get window film that acts as frosted glass. Still lets in the light, but you can see through it. It squeegees on, so you can peel it back off no problem when you move out. You can find it on Amazon. Maybe get one of those like Japanese cut train things. It's like got 3 folds, 6 foot or so tall, and like opaque paper. Might not be the best, but it's at least something. Plus, you could do free shadow puppet shows. Masturbate furiously while looking directly to them to assert dominance. If they start looking at you, just do it faster. Is Bill Billis 47.6 hours ago, edited 4 hours ago. Just stand there sipping coffee the next time it happens. Make eye contact. Assume a dominant stance with one hand in your pocket and perfect posture. Let them know who's in charge. Cover the window in post-it notes. Probably, but what if they enjoy your company? Wait till they invite you to. Why not? No mounting points. You can get curtain rods that just hold themselves in with friction. A fake camera will help. They hot at least. Get some binoculars for a better view. That'll teach them to do it by a window. You don't always have to install curtains if the issue is holes in the wall. Command strips work great if it's something about fire hazards or blocking the window. You're Saul. What's your address? Staring contest. How do people live without window coverings? I could never. A obviously drunk woman was jerking off her dog. I knocked on the window and she jumped about a mile high. I don't like this thread anymore. Red Rocket. So, what made it obvious that she was drunk? Or did you just assume that no one would do that sober? So she jerked off her dog and then joined the Mile High Club. Sounds like a very busy day. So much going on in one sentence. We call the move the doggy style. She did not see that coming. Mile high. But why did you knock? This is it for me. I'm asleep and pretend I didn't read this. Doggy wants some too. Whichever one of you saw me having sex on the 8th floor of my last apartment building. An applause would be nice next time. How optimistic of you, thinking there will be a next time. If you want an applause next time, you need to put in a little more effort, make a show of it. Well, perhaps you would be polite enough next time to invite them in. Smiley face. Danny JCS 8.4K points 11 hours ago, edited 3 hours ago, copyright Oiko. 2 and 4 more. When I was about 16, I was doing window cleaning and grass cutting as a little side job for some extra money. Went to a house where a few people had just newly moved in. Thought I'd get to them before someone else did. Knocked the door. Agreed the price and got to work. All was fine till I got to the last window. One of the bedrooms, 2 people, guy and a girl, were in the process of shooting what I'm assuming was heroin. The girl was already out of it. The guy was starting to nod off. The guy was the same dude who answered the door to me. He must have forgot that I was cleaning his windows and maybe interrupted him. Well, he forgot to close his blinds. But something was off. The girl was foaming at the mouth, and I've never seen someone nod so quick. Hadn't really seen anyone nod at that point. I was only 16, but the girl was foaming at the mouth. I phoned for an ambulance and found out they had both OD'd. Deliberately. Never seen them again. Till like 5 years later when I saw the girl. I asked if she remembers anything from that time. Turns out she survived it. Found the light and all that stuff. But her fella died that day. Something I'll never forget. Scary sight to see at 16. She thanked me for saving her life and said she will always be grateful. Edit. Thank you, kind stranger, for the silver. Edit 2. Damn, I didn't expect this to blow up like this. And thank you to the awesome people that gave me my first ever platinum and gold. Edit 3. Just to clarify with everyone asking. No, I did not get paid. The payment was agreed for after the work was done, as I always arranged with anyone. Never had issues with it. Payment was the furthest thing from my mind that day afterwards. Good on you for calling an ambulance despite how shocking it may have been to see. You were at the right place at the right time, although the sight scarred you. Holy shit, no need for any other stories on this post. This is a profound response. Damn, wow. I am so sorry that happened to you. That's a lot for an adult, let alone a 16-year-old to see. I'm glad the girl survived and was able to turn her life around. Hugs. What a story. Sorry this happened, but thank you for sharing. How did you find out they ought deliberately eat it? Drugs bad. Thank you for coming and listening to my speech. There are snacks and Hawaiian punch on a table at the back. Help yourselves, but only 1 cookie per person. I feel like it's possible that they contracted you to do the windows because they knew they'd OD and expected that you'd find them dead so they wouldn't be laying around for days. Did you get your money? Best story I read on Reddit in 20 years. Do you think the blinds were left open because a little tiny part of their subconscious didn't want to OD? I was getting all set up to do it. I'd rather have his job than malign, but I don't think it really fits this particular scenario. Did they pay you up front for the job? I mean, you said you were at the last window when that happened. Seriously curious. That must have been pretty traumatic, but I guess it was a pretty effective anti-drug ad. Not a window cleaner, but I've been spotted by one. Sat on my day off in my birthday suit having a wank, smoking a joint, and didn't hear our back gate go. He comes in as usual and starts to climb. I had the porn on at a high volume cause I was home alone. See his head poke up above the top of the net curtains and his eyes widen at me. I stared, deadlocked with him for a second before lunging for a cushion to cover myself with. Most embarrassed I've ever been. I make sure my partner pays him each time he comes to the door now, and I'm more discreet in my masturbation. Take it easy, Caligula. You should have maintained eye contact with him as you finished. Assert your dominance. The weirdest thing I've seen while cleaning windows? 50 gigabytes of temporary files and MISC downloads. This guy faps. Tree size free is a godsend, especially when dealing with external drives. Amateur, I saved my porn on the 3D objects file. Did you make sure you removed the SYSTEM32 folder while cleaning windows? I had a friend and she worked as a cleaner when she was approximately 15. 16. She saw her classmate making out with her Barbie doll. Gotta practice somehow. I mean, my friend once told me she used to practice by making out with a wall in the shower, so anything is a dildo if you brave enough. Didn't see anything strange per se, but I did work on a few mansions. Got to see the inside of the 1% homes. Pretty intense. Huge theaters and stuff. I think the home was worth 20 million or something ridiculous. Other than that, my favorite was when cats would come up to the inside window while I was cleaning the outside. Really made my day, considering window washing is so monotonous and soul crushing. I don't wash windows but do some surveying from time to time when the office needs help over there. We had 2 cats watching us through the windows. They bounced between first and second floor windows. Must have been a slow day. I'm pretty sure that is 0.01%, not 1%. 20 million homes are quite rare. Not in the business anymore, but I cleaned residential and commercial. The weirdest thing I ever saw was the wife of a famous actor had a bunch of naked portraits of herself around the house, doing yoga, drinking coffee, shit like that. She was sitting on the couch the whole time we were doing the windows like it ain't no thing. If she didn't care, then neither did we. Come on, you have to give us the name of the actor. Cybersyn 362.8 hours ago, edited 2 hours ago. Not a window cleaner, but I was once interrupted by one trying to get a tennis ball out of my old dog's mouth, but from his point of view it looked like dog on human fellatio. Edit, not changing the poor spelling. Fellatio is a fantastic misspelling. Wellilertalio. Dude has enough internet data to browse Reddit but not Google the spelling of fellatio. One of my uncles used to be a window cleaner before he retired, and I now know what I'm going to ask him the next time we chat. What are you going to ask him? I don't know. I think many of these stories here are made up. Did some window washing during my college time back then, and these are scheduled appointments, so there are really no surprises here, and owners are usually prepared that we are there. One time we did a rich guy's house and it was just him and his girlfriend there. They got into a massive fight towards the end and she just walked out. Literally walked on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere, and we picked her up on our way home. She was a sobbing mess. Poor thing. Real in a lamented emilcvatia. Or multalmoli. Ola rima col. Ilm unola. RCMEM. Condo hired window cleaners and I had no idea until they were outside of my 13th floor windows. We currently have window washers at our apartment. We were told they would be here for the entire week. Our apartment is 15 stories, and we don't know when they'll exactly be at our run. Just within the week. I had a boss who lives in a building with over 200 apartments in it. Yeah, the window cleaning is scheduled with the building, but the tenants aren't necessarily aware of it or remember I know this because my boss told me he walked into his bedroom naked while two guys were cleaning his windows. They saw everything. One of the window cleaners at my workplace is a good friend of mine, and he said that he saw our manager getting a BJ from his assistant under his table while he was working on the PC. Livin' like Larry. DUDEABIDES 723 205.6 hours ago, edited 3 hours ago. As the company I used to work for specialized in residential window cleaning, so going into people's houses was very common. I have quite a few stories, but here are some of the more memorable. OS. Edit. Excuse my poor grammar, I typed this out in a hurry. One time I got a job for a full-service cleaning at a house, and usually we work in pairs. So one guy does an interior while the other does the exterior. I was the lead on this job, and the exterior is usually more difficult. So I told my partner to go ahead and get started on the inside while I get started on the out. Little did I know this house belonged to a widowed older gentleman, probably in his 80s, and was planning to get his house ready to sell on the market. There was a problem with a window on the outside about halfway through the job, and I needed to fix it from inside. When I entered this house, I was instantly blasted with pure ammonia smell, and what can only be explained as the worst combination of shit and piss smell from a number of animals, and must have been like this for years at this point. After nearly throwing up, I instantly spot, not exaggerating, a literal small mountain of cat shit next to the front door. The litter box was stacked beyond its capacity. It was insane to see. I quickly look around and see dog shit everywhere, pee stains everywhere. I am in shock. The old man must be let the place go to hell after his wife died. He comes out to greet me smiling. Hey there. Your partner got started upstairs like nothing is wrong. When I find my partner upstairs, he has a towel wrapped around his face and just starts shaking his head. The entire house was covered in cat piss and dog shit in every room. It was disgusting. The worst part was there was a group of young girls who were hired to pack up his furniture and dishes, etc. I could see them gagging every few seconds. Also, the old man's brother was there to help him pack, and he was sitting on the piss shit stained couch with his shoes off like everything was fine. I am pretty sure the girls left after about 20 minutes, because they stepped outside and I didn't see them for the rest of the job. Lol. Another time, I had this older woman who used our company quite regularly, and she loved me, and always requested me. Maybe the St. or 6th time I come, one of her daughters is there, who I never met. When it's time for me to do the windows in her room, the customer yells upstairs if it's okay. The window guy comes in to clean and we both hear, "Yeah, that's fine." Quote, when I get there and knock and enter, she's standing there in her panties and bra. She smiles at me and goes, "Hi. I'll be leaving soon." I am a bit flabbergasted because she is gorgeous. I can't remember what I said exactly. I just muttered something and awkwardly started cleaning her window. She got dressed and left within a few seconds, and that was it. Lol. Another time, there are some very nice high-rise luxury apartments near the office location that we used to do quite often. Interior only. This lady must have forgotten about the appointment. When I knocked on the door, she greeted me in a bathrobe, visibly drowsy and confused. I explained I was here to clean her windows from the appointment she scheduled. After some confusing discussion, she allows me to begin, and shortly passes out in her bed without me realizing. After I am all finished, I find her in her bedroom asleep. I tried to politely wake her as best I could, without crossing any boundaries, to get the payment, but she was so out of it I ended up just leaving. She called the office shortly afterwards asking if we were still coming for the appointment. Edit. One more story. The way we clean the windows is with what's called deionized water. It's basically a fancy term for pure filtered H2O. So you can rinse a window with this water and it doesn't EMCTSETNA RA NECOEM AIRCOC SAUCIA AOEMNEEOOK WCEMRREERRRRE. Major drought, and our water filtration systems has runoff water that doesn't get pressurized. It's just tap water that didn't get a chance to go into the filter since everything is pressurized. This customer had a number of solar panels that she had got cleaned by us from the last time we were CMEAC Taro Mua Races UESHATs Quartil 8 Colele 20H UEE Lead MCs EOCOLE AG. And she adamantly claims we did them all last time. Sigh. Whatever. I am not in the mood to argue with this lady. I just drew the panels even though it should be about $100 more. While doing the panels, I spot her and her son erratically trying to scoop up the water runoff from the system into buckets. I climb down from the roof and ask her if everything is okay. She proceeds to break down in tears about wasting water. I have to console this woman for about 20 minutes, telling her that we will be done soon and that next time she can request everything can be done by hand to save water, etc. An hour later I finish the panels and the service and go to get payment. Something happened I can't exactly remember, but she made a remark about how expensive everything is, and I kind of snapped on the inside. In retrospect, this was my bad, and I said something along the lines of how she only got charged 25 cents per solar panel, so it was actually a good deal. She then proceeds to have a total meltdown and start yelling and berating me about everything and anything. She went way over the line and was getting very personal. Her son is standing there silent, and after a few minutes of her doing this, she demands that her son, who is much younger and smaller than POMCSAEADEEAECRME Rirana I the door. The whole time I am trying to stay cool and I don't say any personal remarks back towards her. I am standing outside the door and she says something along the lines of how this is ridiculous. And I just look at her in the eye and say, yes, it is, and she slams the door in my face. Bipolar to the max. But I do admit I did snap for a second and made a little remark about the solar panels I probably shouldn't have. She got $500 worth of services for free that day. So I guess she won, lol. I think solar panel lady is just cheap, not necessarily bipolar. As someone who grew up in a house like that older gentleman, 3 to 10 years old, I can say that you get used to it. We had 50 plus cats by the end of it, and we carried fleas with us anywhere, but you stop feeling the bites at some point and the smell just kinda exists. So I get the other guy being able to just vibe like that. Former window cleaner of 5 years. The unusual things I have seen on the job usually took place in the downtown segment. Usually somebody irate or on drugs. On person in particular walking down the block with no pants on. They were overweight too, so the tummy blocked their no-no place. Other than that, nothing too weird in my tenure. My reflection's sad face. That makes 2 of a smiley face. I'm sure you look lovely. I used to be the janitor at a busy McDonald's next to a university campus a while back. Early in the morning, I usually cleaned the windows outside before the drive-thru started to get too busy. Usually saw some fairly strange people, but one that stuck out was a very unkempt and definitely hungover man foraging for cigarette butts in the trash and on the pavement. After he gathered a handful, he sat on the curb nearby, crushed the tiny bits of old stale tobacco out of the butts into a rolling paper, which he then licked, rolled, and then asked me if I had a light. If I hadn't already quit smoking before then, that encounter would have made me do it. L. Ron 437 points 10 hours ago, edited 8 hours ago. The window cleaner commented on the huge spider on the inside of our office room window. He assumed it was caged in some way, but we explained how it's free, but stays on its web, which spans the 1-meter width of the window recess. Quite a few of us in the UK keep exotic spiders other than just tarantulas. Mine is a Nephila norata, Madagascariensis for anyone interested. Ella, won by request of. The larger spider, about 10 centimeters leg span, is mature. Her tiny husband is just above her. Close-up of the egg sac she dropped a few nights ago, with distinctive yellow silk. Dollface 1. We explained how it's free. What the fuck? Exclamation mark. Googled it. We have orb spiders like that in Australia. Their webs are impressive and also terrifying to walk through at night in the bush. Please tell me you warned him before he started. I'm not afraid of spiders. But if I was cleaning windows and came across that unexpectedly, I'd probably fall off the ladder. I'd like to see this setup. Dude, WTF. This thread is supposed to be about tits and ass, not 8-legged nightmare generators. But what are you going to do when all the babies hatch and you have hundreds of baby spiders all over your office? That is pretty cool. We have orb spiders here in the fall. About half that size though. They make a zigzag pattern in the center of their web. One question. Why? That's a nope from me, boss. Not a window cleaner. But this question reminds me of one of the best running gags from the It Full Coup. Alistair, I tell you, I'm not a window cleaner asterisk. Whilst wheeling a window cleaner's bike and riding on a lift used to clean windows with a window cleaner. It's a noble profession. One of the most underrated shows in history. DMRUM EMAEM Kami EE Tokamotor LCMUULEP Miola Olulimatel Lard No Windows. Clara Nator 99.6 hours ago, edited 2 hours ago. Not a window cleaner. But my son was admitted to the hospital once. His room had a big window, and across from that window was another wing of the hospital. It was dusk, but there was a light on across the way, so I looked. There was a medical team doing something to a woman. She was lying on her back, on a table, feet in stirrups, and knees spread. I could see her bush when the doctor, I'm assuming, moved from between her legs. He had a headlamp on, and there was one of those big surgical lights on over the table. The rest of the room was dark. After a moment or two of staring, one of the medical staff motioned urgently to the blinds, and they were then closed. I have no idea what happened after that. Edit. When I said something was being done to the woman, it was some kind of medical procedure. Not sure what kind. But it wasn't a gang rape or anything. Oh my god. Windows of our store overlooked a busy intersection. Saw a dude speed through a red light while cars were still going through, and miraculously there was no accident. A lot of honking and people slamming their brakes, though. Not a window cleaner, but I was the person inside. I lived in a third-floor apartment with a roommate. I had a gentleman friend who I'd recently started seeing romantically come over late at night, and he wound up spending the night for the first time. We woke up that morning to some people on a ladder cleaning the gutters or something. They awkwardly tried to avoid eye contact, and I think we just ignored them and rolled over and went back to sleep. But when they moved past my window to my roommate's room, she, being curious if my gentleman caller and I had hooked up, asked the guy, just, "Hey, is there a guy in there?" and said that he shifted his eyes side to side and did a quick nod with a straight face, and then got back to cleaning and got the heck out of there. The way she described it cracked me up. He thought the window was tinted and saw him wanking. I'm not a window cleaner, but I worked for PacSun a long time ago, and my boss told me to go oopa ladder to change light bulbs above the changing rooms. They had walls, doors but no ceilings. I was at the top of the ladder before I looked down, and all I see is 4 different women covering their bodies and looking at me like some sort of perv. I had toolbox and light bulbs in hand, so I'm clearly working. But in that moment I yelled, "Hey, Angela, how about we sort out that light bulb issue after we close and there's no women in the changing room? WHO now think I'm an asshole." Quote, "I did the light bulbs that night." Wait, this is perfect for my username. Yes, how did you pick that name? This is more on the sad side. We cleaned senior homes, and in the dementia ward there was a woman that was asking me why they turned the volume down in the room because she couldn't hear me. She went on for a while about that and how she disapproves of it. Eventually, she started calling me Brian and said, "Brian, it's been so long since I've seen you. You never come visit." I've got to say that was both the weirdest and most saddening thing I have seen. There's a possibility that Brian visits a lot, but she never remembers, which, I realize, doesn't make it much less sad. Not the one cleaning the windows. This happened in Indonesia. I was staying at my mom's apartment and had a boy over. We were getting nasty and then window cleaner rolled down on their lift thingy and saw us getting nasty. Worst part is I knew who they were because they happened to work around the apartment building. Nia. Great story. I like her attitude. I suspect to see many stories of people catching people doing the hanky-panky. You do the hanky-panky and you turn yourself around, and that's when his balls fall out. I love how nearly every story I read starts with "not a window cleaner but